Today's podcast is brought to you by Chikara Wrestle Factory, 4711 Wingate Street, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where they specialize in lucha libre, porosu, European, British, and German styles, mixed martial arts, and American pro wrestling, all built into the curriculum at the Wrestle Factory, where they strive to create the most well-rounded performers active today. Hey, yo! Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, help us out and click subscribe to show your support. And to make it a bit more interesting, we're shooting for 100 subscribers on YouTube, so we'll be giving random shout-outs to our random new subscribers as we try to reach that goal of 100. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. This episode, we have all kinds of things to discuss. We got Smackdown going down, some really unexpected events there, and a few tidbits from the news and rumor section of the web, where we have all kinds of stuff going on, like Maria Kanellis and Mike Bennett. They are in the news today because it is looking more and more like they are going to be heading to WWE. Maria Kanellis has had a history with WWE in the past. She left a few years back after there was some tension and dissension between she and the Bella twins. She was under the impression that they didn't have as much in-ring skill as many of the other divas. She felt like they were holding her back. And there was some other conflict over when they started up the whole Divas television show, which has kind of carried over for several years. She's been very outspoken in the media about the Bella twins, but now apparently they've tried to bury the hatchet, and this is going to open the way for her to return to the company, bringing with her one of the best talents in the independent world today, Mike Bennett, who I feel like his time in Impact Wrestling was very short, very uneventful, which is kind of a shame because he brings so much to the table and really could have been a huge get for Impact Wrestling. Unfortunately, I don't know that they knew how to use him properly, and he would be a great signing for either the NXT brand, which we say a lot for independent wrestlers, but to be honest with you, I get the impression Mike Bennett is ready for prime time, and there is rumor that he may be headed directly to Smackdown Live with his lovely wife, Maria Kanellis. The other tidbit on the side is that WWE and Impact Wrestling actually have their legal teams working together to work on a deal to allow WWE to use the broken gimmick for the Hardys on television. Now, there's been a lot of speculation as to how this is going to go down. Some people are feeling that WWE would like to literally purchase outright the rights to the broken gimmick, which is kind of an issue because there's still litigation going on as to whether or not the Hardys are the ones who actually own the gimmick. So that could be a very strange dynamic going on between WWE and the Hardys versus Impact Wrestling. At the end of the day, if you pay attention to Matt Hardy's promos and his Twitter feed, he really goes back and forth on this, like the Team Extreme thing, the broken gimmick. There was some references to his old version 1.0 character that he portrayed in the early 2000s in WWE when he went over to Smackdown. So it'll be curious to see how this progresses, but at least we know that there is some dialogue going on between WWE and Impact Wrestling to see about bringing this to the roster. We're going to change gears just a little bit to last night's Smackdown, which, you know, I've been saying for a couple weeks now. I was really hoping they were going to do something of substance with Jindar Mahal. I feel like he was not being used to his full potential, and now it looks like there's a chance they may actually do the right thing here. Jindar Mahal at Smackdown was a part of the six-pack challenge, which was designed to determine the next number one contender to the WWE Championship. Now, the thing is that he came out of the six-pack challenge as the winner. I didn't expect that. There was some conversation about him potentially winning the match last night ahead of the actual show, but I didn't expect him to actually pull the plug on it. You hear rumors all the time, but this actually worked out. The rest of SmackDown was all right. By the way, before I get off the Jindar Mahal thing, one of the reasons he was able to pick up the win was the appearance of the Bollywood Boys helping him out in that six-pack challenge. I'll be very curious to see what they do with their characters going forward, as I think they would be a great addition to his whole gimmick, and they are incredible in-ring workers themselves, so it really could add a lot of layers to his status right now with the company. The show actually kicked off with Charlotte Flair coming out, wondering why she hasn't been given a women's championship match yet. I think it should be pretty obvious. You just got there. No matter what you did elsewhere, it's almost like when people would jump from WCW to WWE. They didn't just instantly go into the World Championship picture. You got to earn that. And that's kind of what was said to her when Shane McMahon came out and gave her some attitude about her complaints about not getting a championship match. He did put her into a match with the women's champion, Naomi, later in the show, but with the stipulation that if she won the match, she'll get a shot at the championship at the next pay-per-view. But I honestly feel like it almost looks like SmackDown and Raw were carbon copies of each other when it comes to the women's division, in that they give the former champion a shot right away at their new championship. I actually expect both of them to win those championships, which I think would also be a horrible idea. There is some confusion in the back. There's a segment where Natalya and eventually Carmella and Tamina Snuka come out. They're upset because they've been on SmackDown, or at least two of them have. Tamina's brand new returning, but they've been on SmackDown. They haven't been given a championship match. Shane actually makes the completely stupid statement that all she had to do was ask for a championship match, but whatever. Clearly there's dissension in the ranks among the women competitors on SmackDown, and they're very frustrated that Charlotte's going to get this opportunity to earn a championship match, but that's the way they're going to run it. They move on to actual action, is the six-pack challenge. You have Eric Rowan in the ring going against Dolph Ziggler versus Jindar Mahal versus Mojo Rawley versus Sami Zayn versus Luke Harper. And on the surface, when I looked at this, I actually thought they would consider giving the win to either Luke Harper or to Sami Zayn. I know they've been pushing Mojo Rawley a lot lately, and I know Dolph Ziggler is actually in a good position against Randy Orton to do the great heel versus babyface thing, but the last person I expected to see win this match would have been Jindar Mahal. Now, I did see the rumors before the show went live that they were planning on potentially doing that, but as I said before, I didn't expect to see it. Great action. Their fans were thoroughly into this match. There was a "This is awesome" chant several times throughout the match. A lot of high spots, a lot of over-the-top rope stuff. But it was a believable match, and it was an enjoyable match. At the end of the match, you get to see Jinder Mahal gets thrown into the turnbuckle. Sami Zayn's getting ready to do the hell of a kick. But, two guys come up. They're wearing white. It looks to me like they were the Bollywood Boys. I think one of the commentators actually said that. And they grab his leg so he can't hit his move. And instead, Jinder Mahal comes over, grabs him, and puts Sami Zayn in the Cobra Clutch Slam, and he gets the pin. So he's going to be the #1 contender to the World Championship, and he does a promo at the end. He makes fun of Americans, talks about his heritage, the fact that he speaks 2 languages, he's educated, he's wealthy, all these different things. Randy Orton comes out to congratulate him. He says that his prize, that what he gets for winning the match, is not going to be the WWE title, but an RKO and a beating at Randy Orton's hands. And then Randy Orton goes on to start talking about his House of Horrors match with Bray Wyatt coming up. I'm really struggling with the way they're booking this Randy Orton-Bray Wyatt thing. If they really wanted to push this House of Horrors match, they really should not have moved Bray Wyatt over to Raw. But you could have easily pulled off an angle where you were going to trade him over there later as some kind of response to what was going on. But whatever. I guess this is just the way they want to handle things. I'm not a big fan of how they've booked this Randy Orton-Bray Wyatt thing. There's a backstage segment with AJ Styles. He's talking about the upcoming match between Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens for the United States Championship. He doesn't care who wins. This is the house that AJ Styles built. He's going to take the title from whichever person shows up at Payback. Baron Corbin comes in. He's got heat with AJ Styles. He's upset that AJ got a title shot. And it ends up setting up a match for later on in the show between AJ and Baron Corbin. There's a segment where Charlotte's in the back. She's confronted by all the women and James Ellsworth, making fun of her. They're making fun of her by saying how grateful they are. That they're in the presence of greatness, and you could tell that there's just some discomfort going on between Charlotte and the rest of the women's division. She ends up coming out and putting on an actual pretty good match, Charlotte against Naomi. I would love for Charlotte to never woo like her father again, because I think it takes away from her character. She does end up getting the win with this natural selection finishing maneuver, the snap. It's almost like a snap DDT. And Charlotte Flair is going to be the #1 contender to Naomi's championship. I feel like this whole thing has been rushed, but that's where we're headed. Epico and Primo being referred to as the Colognes, not as the Shining Stars. I like that. I think Epico and Primo are so much better than they've been allowed to portray at television. They're going to face American Alpha, and this was a great thing for the tag team division. They really established Primo and Epico as legitimate threats to the tag team championship. They look great in this match. They had a great set of sequence of moves. They're thoroughly burying American Alpha, but Primo and Epico end up coming out the winners in this match, and it was actually a relatively quick match for a team that was champions only a couple months ago. They have a Kevin Owens Face of America Open Challenge, where he throws out this open challenge to anybody, and he ends up facing this guy called Gary Gandy. local jobber guy, from Louisville, Kentucky. The crowd cheers for him because that's where they're at, but it's about a 30-second match. He, awkwardly throws him in for the pop-up powerbomb, which was kind of funny because it almost looked like the guy jumped way early. He looked horrible, but at the end of the day, Kevin Owens comes out, of course, the winner, and he's ready to go for his match against Chris Jericho at the pay-per-view, and eventually against AJ Styles. No one's going to take his championship away from him. He's going to be the face of America. So I don't know what they're doing that for. We've seen the American Canada thing before. It worked out better when it was Bret Hart, but I guess they're trying to build off of that kind of momentum. He stays out at ringside commentary for the the final match of the night, the main event between AJ Styles and Baron Corbin. This was actually a really physical match. I love the way this match worked. Corbin had deep six. He was having all kinds of just great interactions with AJ. A big guy like him, you don't usually expect him to be able to keep up. At one point, he was in the calf killer. I thought it was great. He was really selling it well. There was a spot where they were outside the ring. AJ went for the Styles Clash, and Corbin blocks it, and he ends up doing a back body drop. But I've never seen somebody do a back body drop and start running backwards, so I didn't like that they were too far away from Kevin Owens, and ended up looking way too script. But he back body drops AJ Styles into Kevin Owens, which I would have expected Owens to respond with something, but he didn't. Styles ended up getting into the ring, and he hits the Pele kick on the floor. It stuns Baron Corbin. He knocks him over the guardrail with a phenomenal forearm off the apron. Corbin's over the barricade, and Styles goes running back into the ring just before the count of 10, and AJ Styles was the winner. So, a decent show top to bottom, to be perfectly honest with you. I was somewhat surprised that they pulled off such a decent episode, considering how disjointed it seems to have been since they did the Superstar brand split. But at the end of the day, pretty good job overall from the creative team. It's time for fantasy booking. This episode, I got 4 more matches for you in our tournament. We're going to move on to Jay Lethal versus Ken Anderson, The Great Muta versus Phoenix, John Cena versus Eric Young, and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Johnny Mundo. Put your choices for those matches in the comment box on YouTube. I will tally your results and get your winners moved on to the next round. That's all the time we have for this episode, but check back with us in episode 70 where we'll run down all the latest news and rumors in the world of wrestling. Special thanks as always go out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com for producing all of our music and sound effects that we use throughout today's show. Today's podcast, as always, was sponsored in part by Diesel Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with Sketchy People. Showcase your artistic side in this new game from Diesel Games by going to www.thegamecrafter.com/sketchypeople to pick up your copy today, and to alleyrepair.com. Contact Alley Repair today for servicing of all your classic skee-ball, pinball, and arcade game needs. We want to thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we encourage you to go to our website at www.frolifeplanning.com to learn more about what Mr. Fro can do for you on your path to higher education. Remember, Fro Life educational planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro, and I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today. And if you're looking for more wrestling news and rumors, go to www.tsjsports.com/WWE for the latest articles on the world of professional wrestling. Until the next episode, take care, everybody. Have a great day.